Hello everyone, my name is Dusty and I'm still hanging out playing Nintendo. Today I'm going to be playing Zelda II, The Adventure of Link, another one of my early titles for the NES, and the only Zelda game I had for quite some time. I'm going to let this intro play a little bit here just to kind of let the intro scroll come up there and introduce the game a little bit. So I think this game gets a lot of unfair criticism. Some of it's valid, and while I'm playing this, I want to talk about some of the criticism I think is valid with the game. But for the most part, I think that people look at this game and it's just not like the other Zelda games, and that is enough for them to not like it. And I feel like that's just silly. The people that would say that this game is not good because it's different from the other Zelda games will eat up Final Fantasy 12. And that's fine when it's done in that game. So I'm going to go ahead and press start here and get started. But yeah, I think this is a great video game. I don't think it's the worst Zelda. I'm not really sure off the top of my head what the worst Zelda game is, but it's not this. It's definitely not this. It's probably Majora's Mask. I'll just say that. That's probably my pick. Or Skyward Sword. I'd love to get some comments about that's both of those statements. The algorithm requires engagement. But I'll play those games too because I don't know if I'll play Skyward Sword. I'll be honest. I don't think I'll play that. I might play it on the Switch. See if they've improved it any. Because Skyward Sword has the best, maybe not the best dungeons ever, but it's got some of the best dungeons I've ever seen in a Zelda game. I don't think that any game, at least out of the ones I've played, I've not played anything past Skyward Sword, but I don't think any dungeon in any Zelda game felt as much like Indiana Jones or like you're really exploring ancient dungeons as that game did. And for that, it's really hard for me to really honestly say it's the worst Zelda game, but it is. I mean, it is for me because the controls are garbage. They ruined what would otherwise have been a pretty good game with those controls. They also, at least in my opinion, set expectations that they didn't live up to, which is not the first time that's happened. One of the reasons I don't have a very high opinion of Ocarina of Time, which I'll talk about at some point, is because expectations were very high, and I don't feel like they delivered. Not that that's not a great game. It is. It's an amazing game. It's just not what we were being told. We were being told that we were going to have this 64DD game, and it was going to be 32-bit, 64-bit style Twilight Princess. That's what it was looking like in the coverage. So we didn't get that, obviously, but that's what they made it look like, or at least that's the way I interpreted it. I looked at that and was like, oh man, this is going to be epic, and it wasn't that epic. It was a very large, empty world. But I don't want to rant about that. I want to talk about Adventure of Link. So I'm talking to everybody just to kind of maybe make comments about their hints. I'm not really paying attention to their hints because I know everything that they would say. I just like to see if they tell you everything that you need to know to beat the game. And also I would like to show anybody that might watch this the same thing. So several people mention Parapa Desert, but nobody really tells you where it is. And one person tells you what to do in regards to Parapa, and it makes it seem like they're telling you that you're supposed to go west. That's coming up next, I think. Yeah, this little kid tells you that. He says, get Candle in Parapa Palace, go west, which a lot of people I've seen online say that it seems like he's telling you that you got to go west to get to Parapa, but he's not. He's telling you to go west after you get the candle in Parapa. So I would have rather not fought a moblin that can throw spears. Ah. See, he threw one right over my shield. Okay, I took a little bit more damage than I would have liked to, so I'm going to have to go back and heal. So another thing that I like to mention, because I kind of want to get some engagement going in these comments. If anybody listens to this, I would love for some people to comment on some of these, what the kids are calling bad takes. And a lot of people will tell you that Zelda games are RPGs. And like I said before, I haven't played anything beyond Skyward Sword as far as I know. Those could be RPGs. But most Zelda games are not RPGs, except this one. This one does have the only element that will make a game an RPG, and that's gaining experience points and leveling up. If your game doesn't have that, it does not have RPG elements. That is the RPG element. The other things that people will consider RPG elements are really just video game elements. Townsfolk that you can speak to, that's not an RPG element. Power-ups are just power-ups. They're not RPG elements. Getting heart containers is not an RPG element. If it was, every game that has a life bar that you can increase is an RPG, and it's not. Metroid is not an RPG. I rest my case. But this one is, because you do gain experience points. You do increase your health just by fighting and leveling up. You also get heart containers too, but which does seem a bit redundant, but it's Zelda. I feel like you have to do that, or you're leaving something out. So I think I'm going to just do the first palace, and then I'll end this episode. I'm going to split this up into episodes, simply for time reasons. That helps me edit these better and try to make the sound better and present them better if I can break them up a little bit. I'm still not 100% on that. I'm learning as I go, but I just, if it's not just that, I don't believe anybody would sit and watch me play this for one straight playthrough. There's a lot of videos online where people are playing the entire game in one huge video, and that might get views for some people, I don't know, but I wouldn't watch it. So if I wouldn't watch it, I'm not going to put it out there like that. One YouTuber who's super famous, who I'll probably never be as popular as, is Pro Jared. I watch Pro Jared's videos quite a bit, and he breaks his up, and if he didn't break his videos up, I couldn't watch them. I've even tried to marathon some of his videos, and I just can't do it. I just can't focus on something longer than 15 minutes like that. If I'm doing it, it just makes me want to play the game he's playing. So that's kind of what I'm going to go with here. I'm just going to play it for maybe 15, 20 minutes at a time. And I'll try to fix it to where you're not watching me reset the game and start over each time. So I'm not going to use save states though, just to kind of reveal some of the behind the scenes. I'll probably will play it for a long period of time on my own and just make videos out of that footage. When I'm playing these, I do talk at the same time that I'm playing it, but sometimes I do go back and edit. Like if sometimes I get a little stuttery or tongue-tied, and I'll go back and fix those little things. And breaking these up is going to make that easier for me to do. So, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to play this on the Famicom, which is to say emulating it. I don't actually own a Famicom. But all the dungeons in the Famicom look about like this. I actually don't think they have the windows, though. They look really dull. So it's kind of cool that they made it look better for the Western release. But this dungeon to me looks like the last dungeon in the original Legend of Zelda, with the white and the black background and the reds. And this dungeon theme's amazing. I don't think anybody that's heard this dungeon theme dislikes it. It's awesome. I use it for battle music in my D&D games. Not this particular rendition. I've got a remix that not a metal remix, but it's a little more orchestral and a little heavier. So I think one of the criticism that I've heard people levy at this game is the beam is terrible. And I watched a video of a guy showing you how to play this game without taking damage, which is something I don't do. I don't do playthroughs like that. I don't find that fun. I don't find that interesting. The only reason I was watching it was just to kind of see what kind of tips he might give. And one of the tips he gave was use the beam, which I thought was great because I think using the beam is useful. The beam is absolutely a good tool. It's just that there's a lot of enemies that are immune to it, and the range is terrible. But there are certain enemies that are really annoying that will nickel and dime you to death if you let them, and the beam can help you avoid that if you can have your life up. So here's one of our iron knuckles, and I wanted experience. Anyway, I used to be able to fight those, what you might call fair, where I didn't just jump and hit them, but I'm going to just jump and hit them this playthrough because it's easier. And since this game is an RPG and that you can gain levels, I'm going to be fighting everything I see within reason. I could fight the bubbles here, but I'm not going to because it takes about, not that I've ever counted, but it's probably about 50 hits. So it's like 1 hit per XP. They give you 50 XP, and I'm just going to let them go. I meant to hit that so I could not get hit, and I didn't time it right. That's what I was doing there. I've always thought this bridge was cool. It just seems like, I've mentioned Indiana Jones before, but Indiana Jones and Zelda seem to go hand in hand for me, which that might seem weird to people, but when I was a kid, the only Indiana Jones I had was Temple of Doom, and I felt like The Legend of Zelda, and just as a reminder, I didn't have the Legend of Zelda. I just had this. I thought that went with Temple of Doom for some reason. It doesn't make sense. It's like saying it out loud. It's dumb. It's I guess the dungeon crawl is going in the Temple of Doom, and then you've got an evil guy that takes people's hearts out, and it just seems like a fantasy thing to me. So it makes sense in my head. It makes total sense to me. But I've always kind of used that as a measuring stick, like how Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom does this Zelda game feel? And that's one of the reasons that Skyward Sword, for me, had some of the best dungeons. And it really, like when I played that game, it broke my heart how bad the controls were, because I felt like the controls did a disservice to an otherwise amazing Zelda game. That is one of the best Zelda games that they made, except for those controls. Like that's a fatal flaw. Completely ruined. And we also it kind of felt like we were going to get Wind Waker in the sky, and we didn't get Wind Waker in the sky. I feel like I'm talking about too many other Zelda games here, but I'm trying to make a case for how this isn't the worst, and they've done far worse things with other Zelda games than they did with this one. And this game's just really combat heavy. That's one of the reasons I love it. This is my favorite type of video game, period. A side-scrolling action adventure. Not necessarily a Metroidvania. I think a lot of people call all side-scrolling action adventures Metroidvanias, whether they are or not. And that's probably because most games that come out now that look like this and play like this, they usually are Metroidvanias. Um, but this is not a Metroidvania. I don't think it qualifies. I don't really like that term either, Metroidvania. I'm not a fan. I'm with Joe GameSack on that. To me, they're all action-adventure games. They're all action-adventure side-scrollers, or side-scrolling action-adventure platformers. Alright, I'm going to see if I can't whip Horsehead, which is actually his name, Horsehead. I always thought he was a chess piece. That's what I thought of. He was the knight chess piece. But how cool is this? Like, when I was a kid, I thought this was so cool. It is very helpful to have level 2 sword fighting him. If you don't go out of your way to gain XP, you will have level 1 sword there, and it's way more tough than it should be. Alright, I'll be wrapping this up pretty soon here. Let me see. I think I need to find a place to stop though, so I'll play a little bit longer here. I guess I'll go ahead and level magic up here. So, next episode, I'm not going to go straight to the swamp, or which is called Medoro. So Medoro Palace. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to do Death Mountain and try to get some XP. I'm going to try to get some extra moves and spells because, like I said before, this game is very hard and you're very weak at the beginning. So Death Mountain is itself pretty tough, but I don't think it's as tough as trying to do a palace when you're underpowered. So we'll get this trophy in here. And see, this is why I didn't want to do this in the dark. There's just too much going on, too many holes. Which, I mean, you can see the holes. It's that bat is the thing that would make it hard. And I think when I was a kid, I used to do this in the dark just to do it. And I could do it, but I didn't want to try it this time. There's really no reason to have the jump spell in Parapa Palace, so it would just be doing it just to kind of say, ha, I did it. And other people on YouTube are doing way more impressive stuff than that, so I just didn't want to do it. Alright, so I'm just going to go up here to this town, and as soon as I enter the town, I'll go ahead and end the episode there. So I hope you all have enjoyed this first episode of The Adventure of Link, and if I said something that you don't agree with, go ahead and leave some comments. I'll talk to you about it, and join me next time. See ya.